All right. So yes, thanks again for joining. A brief introduction. My name is Jeremy, and I am a VP here at Datadog. I joined about 7 years ago, and now run 7 of the product and engineering teams. So to give you an idea of the growth that Datadog has seen, when I joined, we had about 200 employees, and I'll give you the number that we have now. It's been quite a bit. It's quite a bit more. Started my career as an SRE, and then was an engineering manager. Founded a consulting company that helped organizations build sustainable business models, mostly around open source, and also scale open source implementations, infrastructure as well. So getting to that growth number, we're now over 5,000 people, which has been just astounding to be part of, and really fun, really amazing. We're in over 32 countries as of now, but one office where we're making particularly large investments and are really excited about is this office right here in Korea. And just to give you an idea, the Korea office opened in 2019 with just a handful of people in a shared space. And in 2021, we had a local language tech support, local language tech post-sales support, and that was a huge investment for us, and really, I think, shows how invested we are in this region, how committed we are to this region, and how excited we are to be just part of this area. And then today we have a dedicated space, over 50 people in the Korea office now. Was able to spend the week there, and it's been just an amazing office to be part of. The energy and really just the quality of people in that office. I go to a lot of offices, and it's top notch. This region is absolutely amazing. So to give you an idea of the scale of Datadog, we have a little over 26,000 customers. But what's important to call out here is that we spend almost a full third of our revenue on R&D. And what that allows us to do, and I should note here, that is by far the highest number in the industry. To put 1/3 of our revenue back into ensuring that we're innovating is, it really is a next level number. But what that means is whether you're a startup or a small business or a Fortune 50, we're able to support you with everything that you need and everything that you do. So I mentioned that history of innovation, and I think it's difficult to innovate once, but to continually innovate over time in a sustainable manner is really difficult. And I'd like to walk you through where we started and where we're going. So you'll see in 2010 there, the company was founded by Olivier and Alexi, or if you're in the office, Ali and ALQ. They're still with the company. They're the CEO and the CTO. Previous to Datadog, they worked together. One was the head of dev, the other was the head of ops. And while they got along very well, they felt that their teams did not get along as well as they could, that there was a lot of friction. And that friction, especially during outages, it caused real problems. And they thought there has to be a better way. So just a quick raise of hands. Any dog owners or dog lovers in the crowd? No, not too many. Neither of the founders, one in the back. Neither of the founders have a dog then. They don't have dogs now. So we often get asked, why is the company called Datadog? Well, at the company that they were at, all of the servers were named after dogs. The database tier was called Datadogs. Each server had a number, and Datadog 17 was a particularly problematic server. No one wanted to touch it, no one wanted to go near it, and you certainly didn't want to be on call for it. And they felt that server was emblematic of the problem that they wanted to solve, and that's why they called the company Datadog. So getting back to this history of innovation, I joined right at the end of that bar at 2012. And when I joined, we had just a single product in GA, just one. Shortly thereafter, we launched APM, and very quickly became a Gartner Magic Quadrant leader, where we remain today. And you can see after that, the pace of acceleration, the velocity of innovation, the velocity of product releases has been absolutely astounding. From logs and serverless shortly after APM, to things like AI and ML and a whole new space of security now. We're going to continue to grow and support you everywhere that you are. So now that you know the history, what's the problem that Datadog really solves? We want to help organizations, like all of yours, get the observability they need into their systems, into their infrastructure, into their businesses, so that you can do the business that you're set out to do, and are supported in the outcomes that you want to have. So one huge challenge today is not just cloud environments, but environments in general and infrastructure are increasingly complex. They're increasingly distributed. They're increasingly dynamic with things like auto-scaling. So if you don't have the right systems in place to tackle that complexity, it's going to lead to real, tangible problems. So let me give you an example. Let's say your organization has a website that you can buy things and check out. Very common situation. That add to cart button, suddenly it's not working. So someone gets paged and one team has to go to a front-end monitoring solution that was built in-house. Another team's looking at their mobile monitoring solution, completely different system. Yet another team is looking at a system that you built in-house. And as all this is happening, people can't check out, which is causing you revenue loss. And then they realize the problem is with another system that they don't even have access to, so they need to ask another team for access to logging information. And just minute by minute in this high pressure situation, you're losing revenue. But it's not only about revenue, right? As time goes on in situations like this, that downtime, it slows the pace at which you can innovate. You start shipping slower. And in the end, your ability to compete is legitimately compromised. Your reputation is at risk during outages like that. So that's why we feel like a unified approach to securing and monitoring all the things that you do is critical to keep your operations running and that revenue flowing. So I mentioned the complexity of the environments, and this slide I think is pretty indicative of that. To do all the things we need to do, we have well over 600 integrations, a very comprehensive platform. But I mean, look at this slide. There's so much there. How do you know where to focus? How do you know what's important? You know, there's a saying, if everything's important, nothing's important. And this many things just can't be important. So one thing that I do think sets us apart is our relentless focus on customers. We really do care about customers. So taking that 30% of R&D and putting it into what we ask ourselves every day, what problems are our customers having? And how can we best solve those specific problems? How can we ensure that you are able to best innovate yourself with high velocity, with minimal toil, with minimum downtime? So with that, I want to get into what we think is the future of observability, the areas that we're going to focus on for the near to mid-future. We try not to go too far out in this industry. But these are the areas we'll be making very large investments, and in talking to customers, we're hearing that you're making very large investments in these areas as well. LLMs and AI ecosystems. I don't have to say how much hype there is about AI. And we want to help you, and we're going to do that in a couple of different ways. First, AI stacks. Whether you're using a database like Pinecone, vector database, or you're using Weaviate, or you're using NVIDIA GPUs, we want to make sure that this new, very complex, very not well understood stack, you have the observability that you need to do the things that you want to do with AI. But that brings us to LLMs, and that's where the magic is really happening in AI, right? But we want to cut through some of that hype and give you practical insight. LLMs, in the end, are non-deterministic, opaque black boxes, which makes them particularly difficult to observe. So what we're going to do are things like allow you to inventory your LLMs, and with that inventory, measure drift of each LLM. Understand the costs associated with those LLMs, because they can be quite costly if you don't keep an eye on things. And beyond that, we're going to take AI and LLMs and build them into the products that we're shipping. So there, think things like Watchdog AI or Bits AI, which we're particularly excited about, and I'll get to in a minute. Beyond LLMs and AI, though, we want end-to-end security for all. What we want to do here is we have a little bit of a different approach. We want to take security and meet developers where they already are. So whether it's vulnerability management or application security, real-time threat detection, there's a variety of different things here. The important thing is what we do is take the tool that your developers are already using and add that security context. So going back to the founder story, what it's really about is everyone speaking the same language, having that shared context, and they're not being silos. So everyone, during those high pressure situations, and a security incident is certainly one of those, everyone is together in the same direction, getting the information, solving the same problem. And we've seen that approach really resonate with customers. So shift left and developer experience. What we want to do is have your developers be as happy as possible, so they're shipping the highest quality code and moving at a velocity that's very high. And how we do that is moving everything that we can earlier and earlier and earlier into the development process. So you're going to catch issues earlier, or ideally even prevent them before they become issues. And that, like I said, that developer experience helps you be super productive and retain. Recruiting is difficult in this industry, so it enables you to retain that talent. And finally, optimize cloud resources. And this is from things like cloud cost, but optimize means a lot of things, and we're going to help you with all of those things. So we recently launched something called Cloud Cost Recommendations, which gives you specific actionable insight that you can follow to optimize your cloud environment from a cost perspective. But there's so much more. We help you optimize performance, which gives you a better end user experience, but also sometimes has that knock-on effect of saving you money as well. We optimize, especially through that shift left, optimize developer experience. But in the end, what you care about most and where we help you significantly is optimizing the experience for your end users and your customers. So let's dig into a couple of these things in a little more detail. This is where AI comes in. So you're already shipping us a bunch of telemetry, be it logs, be it traces, be it metrics. Layering AI into all the data that we're already having is a logical next step that helps you. So how does it help you? Well, first, we take that data and we detect proactively. All that data coming in, what we notice are patterns and seasonality and things that we can help you predict what is. You didn't even know it was going to be an issue, but because we have that data, we can tell you that it is. Next, we're going to help you investigate faster. We're going to help detect root cause analysis for you, saving you time and effort. We're going to take data from traces and correlate it with metrics and correlate it with logs, so you have that full unified view that I was talking about earlier. And this is new and it's exciting. For most of the time that I've been here at Datadog, we've been benevolent observers. Recently, with newer products, we're actually taking action on your behalf to automatically remediate issues before you even know that it happened. As someone that used to be on call, this one is particularly exciting for me. And now let's get into Bits AI. This is something that we launched at Dash, and we were really, really excited to announce it. And we're particularly thrilled. There was like an audible gasp in the crowd, which you don't often see at tech conferences, and it was really, really fun to see. But what's Bits AI actually do for you? It allows you to ask questions in natural language. Any problem that you might have, it takes all the context that we have given that very specific question and returns detailed, specific, contextualized results for you. Now, this is going to be beneficial to all of your users, which some people are surprised about at first. For new users who may not understand what a query language is or just have never used the product before, it allows them to use the language they know and understand and ask questions and get answers very quickly. So it helps with onboarding. But even for your most advanced expert users, there's going to be parts of the product that they perhaps haven't used before or that we just released, and it's going to, with no friction, allow them to take a product they've been using for a long time, and everything we add, easily, seamlessly use those products and get immediate value, which we think is very important. Now, as I noted, we are super excited about Bits AI, and there will be a demo later today, which we're happy to show you. So it's great for me to stand up here and tell you that I think Datadog's great, and I genuinely do, but I work here, so there's a little bit of an incentive there. So I think it's better when you hear things directly from customers. So in this case, we did a case study with Toyota, who was able to save $10 million in just 2 years. And how they did this was actually more simple than you might imagine. By having more observability out of the box with Datadog, instead of focusing on things like infrastructure change and building observability tooling, they got to work on the things that they actually ship and care about as a business. So those savings were very large. But it goes beyond just that dollar savings. As you can see, they decreased mean time to detection for their issues from about 6 hours to just 15 minutes. That sounds amazing, right? It's over 10 times reduction. But in one specific manufacturing plant, the average time to detection for an issue was 7 days. 7 days, which seems almost unimaginable. They reduced it to just 2 hours. That is the kind of actionable change that you can see with Datadog. But it goes even further than that. What they were seeing is because they have a very distributed system that's very complex and has quite a bit of infrastructure involved, it was taking them somewhere between 8 and 12 weeks to onboard a new engineer, which is a long time. Because Datadog gives you all that context, it understands what your environment looks like, and it simplifies things for you, they're able to onboard an engineer in an average of just 3 to 4 days now. And again, this is a huge, huge time saver. And I'll leave you with a quote from their director of engineering who shared, "It's not just about what Datadog can do. It's also about how Datadog is helping us integrate and monitor multiple services." That was a big factor in choosing Datadog. And again, that goes back to us being that comprehensive, unified platform. So whatever you're using, we'll be there to help. Now, it's great to hear from an engineering director at a company you've certainly heard of, but I think it's even better to hear from people that are in this room right now. So want to give an extra special thank you for the people in this room that shared these case studies and quotes. Really appreciate your time, really appreciate you being a customer, and really appreciate you putting your trust in us. And one thing that you'll notice here is the themes run right through the themes that I've been talking about for this entire presentation. Reducing mean time to resolution or detection, streamlining operations, enhancing observability, and importantly, better team collaboration. It's about how do we get disparate teams to work better together with a shared language and having the same context and same information. And also shifting, not just left, but a lot of teams are reactive. What we want is for them to be proactive for you. So with that, thank you again for joining, and happy to answer any questions that you may have.